Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our international talk show where I get to talk to doctors from all over the world every day. And it's a pretty exciting day because we have a doctor, an author from the other side of the world, who is a doctor, by the way. Let me see if I can find him. There he is. Welcome, Dr. Paul Anderson. Dr. Paul, welcome. Tell our viewers where you're located.
Yes, well, I'm in New Zealand at the moment. I've been resident in Australia, but I'm been here for a few years helping set up an Indigenous health program. So what you see in the background is the Bay of Plenty, which is
Wow.
an area with lots of fish and lots of animals and people.
It's quite beautiful. What I'm seeing is quite beautiful. Now, today, where I am in Central California, it's May the 8th. No. It's I messed up my whole gag there. It's May the 11th, and it's about 12:37 p.m., just afternoon. What day and time is it in New Zealand?
It's Wednesday the 12th, and it's 8:30 in the morning. So I've just organised to have a couple of hours off surgery so I can talk to you. So it's perfect for us.
Regardless, it's tomorrow. You're there tomorrow.
Yes.
Now, I know you're a doctor, a surgeon, and you had quite a path. Anybody who becomes a doctor, it's just not an overnight thing. You have quite a journey to get there. Tell us about the journey to med school.
Well, it started in New Zealand, and then I was very interested in doing sports medicine, and was offered a bursary to Glasgow. And I think in the book I just tell about the strange coincidence that then went from Glasgow to Los Angeles, because Los Angeles at that time, California, was really ahead of the world in terms of sports injuries.
Yes.
So I went to University of California and did a master's degree in sports injuries, and then one of those really interesting coincidences again, when I thought I was going to come back to New Zealand and lecture in sports injuries, I was offered a bursary to South Africa to do a PhD.
Wow.
And because that was during that apartheid era, it was much more interesting to do the PhD which I did, which was on politics and race, which nearly got me kicked out of South Africa.
I bet. In that period, yes.
Yeah. And then from there, once I finished that, and I wasn't allowed to publish it because it was so controversial, I was offered a position in the medical school at the University of Cape Town, which is where I did medicine and also started to become a surgeon.
So you did a master's degree and a PhD, and then you went on to be an MD?
That's right,
Wow.
yes.
Sounds like an awful lot of work, Dr. Paul.
Yes, it was just, fascinating too, besides the coincidences that, created that, was that there was finance available at that time in terms of, educational support, albeit, I had to work in South Africa when I was in medical school because of foreign fees, and I obtained a job in the local mortuary, which was about then removing eyes for corneal transplants. So that's included in the book as well.
Yeah.
There were some interesting occasions there, including what naughty policemen got up to.
Yes. Now, by the way, we have this book titled Surgical Tales. Is this the book you're referring to?
That's right.
Tells your story as well as other things.
Yes.
Now, at one point, there was a lot of unrest in the whole world, but in South Africa, there was apartheid and etc., and you were there and something happened.
Yes, I was caught up in one of the first terrorist attacks on the churches in the world. In 1993, there was a terrorist attack in Cape Town on St. James Church. 11 people were killed and 58 of us were seriously injured. 4 terrorists came in with AK-47s and grenades. The grenades were all covered in screws to create maximum mayhem.
Yeah.
And the grenade fractured my forearm in 14 places. AK-47 bullet just grazed my forehead, and the 2 people behind me were shot and died. So I was, again, very lucky because 2 of my really good friends were surgeons. One was a trauma surgeon, one was an orthopedic surgeon. and they put me back together. But what I didn't obviously realise after that was that PTSD was
Yeah.
going to be a feature.
Yeah, and that, PTSD is not a new thing, but they finally have put a word on it and a label on it, and a lot of us
Mm.
in the world are beginning to understand how serious it could really affect somebody, and that's affected you for years. By the way,
Yeah, yes, it was really strange because you think you come through an event
yeah,
like that, and you're really grateful that you're alive, and others have died. What you don't realise is I had a small son at that stage. He was 3 or 4,
mm,
and I went to a birthday party that he was invited to, and a balloon went off, and I dived on the floor.
yeah,
And my ex-wife said, "What are you doing down there?" And I realised that the sound was the same as the exploding grenade and the AK-47. And I
yeah,
think, if anything, the positive that came out of it, I then realised this what it was, and started writing about it. Um, and that was really cathartic. And that writing then turned into a medical thriller, which got picked up by Hollywood to be made into a movie, and subsequently led to 2 sequels to that.
nice. Now, I'm happy to hear or interested to hear various authors come through onto our show who have been through some trauma, and how writing the book could really help them kind of get past it or face their past traumas.
Yes, I think it, and that has grown now. You're quite right, in the sense that now, in terms of counselling, expressing those emotions, either writing or talking, is part of the way that you deal with post-traumatic stress disorder. At that particular point, not much was known about it. I went to a psychologist, and he said, "Oh, just get over it. You've survived."
Yeah,
But now we know that expression, writing or talking, is what's needed
yep.
to get rid of that emotion that's inside.
Yeah, I hope that viewers of our show or readers of your book and other books get that maybe that may be a good therapy for people who are trying to get past things. You have to go back and face them, I guess, and writing about it really, I'm sure, emotionally makes you relive it.
It does. I think initially it's really difficult, because I know that when I tried to initially write about it and wrote just in longhand before putting it on the computer, I'd be writing and the tears would flood the paper.
Yeah,
And helping you realise, how much this has affected you inside, when you just think, and particularly the Australasian male just thinks, well, you survived this, get on with it,
yeah, right. Yeah,
And
can't tell you how many times I've heard that people telling others, just get over it. But it's not how it works. Now,
no.
This is not, let me put the cover back up again, Surgical Tales. This is not your first book, but it's your latest book?
This is the latest book. As I said, it was a discovery that I, not only for PTSD, but that I enjoyed writing. And probably being a type A personality surgeon, I thought, well, can I turn this into a medical thriller? And it was just amazing story again, how it got to Sony Studios in Hollywood. It sold 10,000 copies when we put it on the internet. At that stage, I'd also set up Specialists Without Borders, taking medical education into Africa, and a New York anaesthetist came to join us to teach. Saw the book, took it back, and enjoyed it so much he gave it to a cardiologist friend in Los Angeles who had the head of Sony Studios as a patient. He gave him the book, and then I got an email which I thought was a scam, saying, "We want to make your book into a movie." Anyhow, it went from there, and it was due to have, Marty was talking about getting the director of Brokeback Mountain involved. It was all ready to go, signed and sealed. I even wrote a letter to Angelina Jolie, which my son had to supervise, as Marty was friends with her and wanted to have her advice, because the book, besides being a medical thriller, also had underlying socialist, racist tones to it, to exemplify what had happened in South Africa. But unfortunately, Marty, when we were ready to go, caught COVID
Oh,
and passed away.
that's yeah, that's
Mm,
that was a shame. So close,
yeah,
but there's so much demand now for content because everybody's making movies now. Amazon, Apple TV, Netflix are all making their own movies. So hopefully somebody will pick up your project and run with it. Now,
well,
yep.
yeah,
So Surgical Tales. By the way, here's the cover again. This it tells your story as well as serving as a medical thriller.
no, it doesn't have the medical thriller. It's really about the interesting cases that I've encompassed or encountered in the world when I've travelled around. You know, whether it was in Africa or Australasia or America,
Hmm.
and so you'll see on the cover it says fascinating, interesting case studies, which
So these
and
are
there's a
actual
picture of them.
stories of real things you've encountered,
That's right.
as well as your
Um,
story,
yes, yes.
which
So
is an amazing series of coincidences. Do I have that correct?
exactly, yes. I think people that have read it said they just can't believe that there is obviously someone up there directing something.
Directing something from the
Mm,
all the way down to somebody picking up your book and handing it to the right person who could hand it to the right person to get Sony involved. Uh,
that's right, yes. And I think, one of the stories in there is about a little mouse we rescued out of a colon, which seems to have captured everyone's attention. But there are other more involved surgical stories about the liver transplants that we did
yeah,
and started.
yeah. It's amazing also that after having that horrible injury, you're able to do surgery.
Well, it was, yes, great thanks to my friend, the orthopedic surgeon. He did a really radical procedure on my left arm with those 14 fractures,
Hmm.
so that at that time it was quite advanced, so that I could operate again.
Yeah.
And it's really thanks to him, which is what I put in the book, that I could operate again after that terrorist
Yeah.
attack.
Well, it sounds like another one of those coincidences or miracles, if you like, that you just happen to have this good friend who was that expert of surgery in that field.
Mm. Yes, I think looking back on it and having written it about those coincidences, you just wonder,
Yeah.
you know, why this was directed, other than the fact that what you get given, you can give back then. And that was what it all became about, being given things so that you could give back, whether
So
it
you
was,
give back, yeah.
Specialists Without Borders or, starting liver transplants.
Right. Now, this is probably a self-evident question and answer, but who is going to read this book? Who reads these type of books?
Well, it's really quite interesting. I initially thought it would be, friends and family,
Hmm. Yeah.
but then it seems to have hit a niche market where, people are really interested, as you know, in any kind of medical, surgical
Yeah.
dramas. And so this is combining all those dramas into a life story, which seems to have hit a little niche that it's not only just family and friends or colleagues, but other people are picking it up and saying, gosh, that's really interesting. I'm glad I read this.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's just become a very popular genre. We, of course, talk to authors every day. And don't want to say I'm shocked, but I'm thrilled that that many people have an interest in this kind of medical thriller kind of thing. I know some people I'm gonna give this book to because it's just so fascinating and the great coincidences, and it's inspirational as well. People who are trying to trudge through and get over things, just get over it. I think they'd enjoy reading this book as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for that. Yeah, that's some of what is being said as well. But yes, it was much more interesting than writing the romance novel that I wrote. So that's something else.
Yeah, this is how long? When did you start writing it? How long did it take you?
I started, immediately after that terrorist attack, which was 1993.
Yeah.
And then because that first book, Does It Hurt to Die, was such a success,
Yeah.
people wanted a sequel. So then I did the sequel to that. And then the sequel to that one, which was Old Lovers Don't Die, was Let 'Em Die, which was about the mafia and the bikies in Australia, in the drug system. And it also incorporated stories. I mean, I'd had and operated on the head of the local mafia there, so I could incorporate that story into it. And he gave me background.
Yeah.
And then because the operation was so successful, he also made an outstanding donation to Specialists Without Borders, which helped us keep going.
The mafia.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I love to read about things I don't know about, first of all. I know you probably are never surprised how little Americans know about New Zealand. Certainly didn't know they had a mafia or had that kind of thing going on there.
Oh, that was in Australia, sorry.
That was in Australia, okay. And as you probably know, Americans don't know the difference between New Zealand and Australia. So
Yes, yes. Well, very, very close together, and New Zealand's a small island really off the coast of Australia, which is often how we're regarded.
that's amazing. This sounds just like such an opportunity to learn about a little bit about medical procedure, a little bit about your life's journey, and the things you've been through, and learn a little bit about New Zealand that we don't know too much about. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Paul, we're running out of time. I just want to give you a minute. Is there something else you'd like our viewers to know about this book or about you or anything in the world you want to talk about?
No, I think it is a very challenging time in the world. Everyone has obviously, looked to America for the lead in the world, and there is that question about where this is all going at the moment,
Yeah.
which is challenging amongst my colleagues and everyone else. And I think there is that unsettling feeling that we would like it all settled,
Yep.
because we love it when America is leading in that whole democratic process and establishing assistance and aid. But from a personal point of view, I think it is with this book, it has encouraged me. Now they would like another medical thriller.
Yeah.
So I've got that all planned. So
Nice.
that's in the background.
You got it in your head already?
Well, it's actually sketched out and written out. So
Nice.
it's a matter of
Nicely done.
getting into it.
Now, I think I just looked at Amazon, at your Amazon page. I think all of those books are still available. Is that right?
That's right. The publisher has redone the covers on them, but they're all there on that Amazon page, except the romance one and the diet book.
The diet book.
Yeah, but those might go up shortly.
Great. I need the diet book, Dr. Paul. Now, I urge our viewers, I say this every once in a while, but especially on this book, if you go to Amazon or wherever you buy books, don't go and just click one time. Click 5 times on this book. Buy 5 of them. Give them out to your friends and family and people you want to encourage and inspire. It sounds like such an inspirational tale. I can't wait to read it myself. And I don't say that, Dr. Paul, because I can't read all the books, but I'm going to read this one. And I'm very excited to do so. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you'll come back again and again.
Yes, well, if the book is really successful, we're going to use the proceeds to build a little hospital for those that can't afford to be looked after. So fingers crossed.
That would be amazing. Dr. Paul Anderson, Surgical Tales. Go find that and his other books wherever you buy your books. And I just want to close by saying thank you, Dr. Paul, and I look forward to talking to you again and again.
Oh, no, thanks very much. It was great chatting to you.
All right, and for our viewers, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with another author right after this.